You're listening to Raising Anchor, the Rhode Island FC podcast, now part of the Blazing Musket family. We're glad you're here. Hello and welcome to Raising Anchor, your podcast and source for all things Rhode Island FC. I'm your host, Matt Intrigan, and joining me today is Stadium General Manager and Employee Number 1, Paul Byrne. Paul, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Matt. Always good to be here.
It certainly is quite the journey you've been on since the last time you were on the podcast. I know before you go, when we were on our way to Byrne in that opening season, completely transformed here now at Tidewater, now Centreville Bank Stadium. What's this experience been like for you? I mean, I'm sure you're just drowning in all of the responsibilities that come with such a momentous project.
Well, it's been full circle. It was, we really had a great opportunity to showcase what a little glimpse as to what fan experience we were going to provide at Bryne University. Really appreciate their assistance in helping us showcase Rhode Island FC matches, and also, really gave us an opportunity to kind of get the training wheels on, right, to be ready for the experience here at Centreville Bank Stadium.
Did it help you at Byrne? Like, were there lessons that you were able to move over to Centreville Bank Stadium, or was it you threw that script out the window and it's been a completely new thing here at this stadium?
Oh, no, it definitely helped me. We were able to set up, the goal at Byrne Stadium was to introduce to fans what they could expect, right, from a soup to nuts experience with us. So, what they expect, we're all mobile ticketing, right? We had digital parking. We had, a security experience where you're going through what you would go through at Gillette Stadium, where you're going through certain bag policies and permitted and non-permitted things. And, we did put on a food truck experience there. So we're really trying to tap into local Rhode Island. And, we had, as far as production goes, we were able to bring in a couple bells and whistles that we'll be showcasing here at the building. So, it was a I don't like to say trial run, but it was a great opportunity for our fans at least to get acclimated to what we're bringing to the table here in 8 days.
It's wild. We're sitting here in your office now inside Centreville Bank Stadium, and I look around and I've watched this stadium just literally transform overnight. Some days it was like, is this going to get done on time? And then the next day, 1,000 things get accomplished. It feels like a silly question to ask, but are we on track? Will we see this stadium do its grand opening on May 3rd?
Yeah, 100%. Matt, I've been a part of a new build before when I was with the Dynamo, and you're exactly right. There are some days you're like, are we really going to get there? But that's the nature of opening anything. If you think about fans that open, they're in a home for the first time, and you're trying to finish that last piece of paint that you're not sure it's going to get there or not, or are you really that delivery going to come in for the appliances that you have for your kitchen? It's all very relative. We're just on a bigger scale, right? So, but we're there, we're there. We have our soft opening tomorrow, and the soft opening is essentially taking the training wheels off, right? And we're able to have a few thousand folks in here that'll use some of our spaces. We still have a couple little things here and there, just like, as I mentioned, the reference from a foam, just kind of covering up some of those marks and nicks that we have with paint, and working through a couple other things. But that's why we want people to come through our doors and experience the building, and gives us our security opportunity to go through the security mechanisms that they have, our concession stand folks, our production, across the board. So I'm excited for tomorrow to happen.
And then a reminder, that event, this will come out after, but this was also a ticketed event, and that's probably also to understand turnstile. Like, those are your key objectives, right? Like you said, security, concessions, production, just how does the ticketing system work? Is there anything that you haven't yet seen and it's all kind of still theoretical until you see it applied on that soft open?
Parking and traffic, right? So, and we've spent, as I've mentioned to publicly, we've spent a tremendous amount of time to put together the best plan for our fans when they descend into Pawtucket. So Tomorrow will be a little bit of a glimpse of that. Parking is free. Our Laz is Laz Parking is our partner. They'll be manning the lots. We'll be working through the Taft Street closure, so that won't be open for tomorrow, but we have a pedestrian walkway. There'll be attendants that will be engaging with fans, to have a friendly face, so I can show them the pathways and access points to and from these parking lots. And once again, that's another piece that we will be able to flush through, right? And we really fit this many cars here to really do this, so on and so forth.
To kind of double click into this and really the objective of talking to you today is to treat this as the unofficial know before you go, before you get those materials out into fans as close as possible to the home opener. And I also want to preface to everyone listening that everything we talk about could very much be subject to change. You're giving us the opportunity to talk now, but there's a sprint that needs to be accomplished, and some things may, slightly be adjusted by the time between when they listen to this and when they actually see those materials go out in the email. But I want to ask a couple things, like looking into the parking itself. So first and foremost, I know this is a partnership with the city. I know it's a very complicated mechanism when you're trying to transform an entire landscape to work around what the stadium's needs are. And I guess the first thing is, when you look at the overall parking experience for these fans, as you look at the soft open, as you look at the larger strategy, what are some of the best practices and advice that you want to give out to fans? Because, they're all going to be coming in and then, narrowing down, merging into these very finite touch points. What's the best thing that you would want to tell fans ahead of this, knowing that this is going to probably be a little unconventional the first time, maybe the second time around, but we saw this at Byrne, right? Like as things start to get more flush, more fluid, what would you tell fans on these first few game experiences, even the open house that is going on this weekend?
Please pay attention to your emails and the communication that we send out to you. Please plan accordingly your day. Use our tools as far as our website that gives the parking locations in your GPS. It'll bring you through the right paths, the roads to get you to the parking lots.
Is there an optimal path to get to your reserved lot if you have gone, bought into that?
If you input the address into Waze or Google, it'll give you the optimal
based on the traffic.
Based on the traffic, right?
Okay.
But what I really want to emphasize is arrive early. Lots will open 3 hours prior to kick. They'll open at 1 p.m. So plan your day. Go to the lot, and gather your group together, for that authentic experience. But if you arrive early, it'll give you a much better experience than maybe trying to show up 15 minutes before the game starts.
And I think a lot of fans are going to want to see that, right? They're going to want to experience more than just the game, the very first game. They're going to want to see the stadium and the offerings there. When you say early, let's get to a number here. If the lot in the stadium is 3 hours before, are you saying like get here between 12 and 1? Is that the idea? Is that going to help both themselves and you guys as you?
Yeah, I mean we're going to open gates 2 hours prior to kick, so at 2 p.m. With that opening, we have a full-on fan fest that folks experience when they're at Byrne, but they'll experience that and then some here at Centreville Bank Stadium. So, and then the other part of it is I would imagine fans want to walk around and, try the different offerings that we have for food and beverage and activations around the venue and maybe check out where their seat is and then check out a different location. So, it'll be an incredible day, and it would be beneficial for fans to arrive early, arrive through the gate early, take their time, make sure they go to the merch team store, and really embrace this moment of history. And there's nothing worse than trying to rush through that.
Sure.
Right. So I would recommend 100% for fans to arrive early, plan your day. Please try not to descend into the area 30 minutes before kick, because it will. The reality is there will be traffic. It's been quite a while since we've had close to 11,000 fans coming into Pawtucket. We have, like I said, we have traffic patterns and we have plans laid up. But anytime you take I don't know, 4,000 cars and you put them in one spot at the same time, you're going to have traffic.
And then, I with the good, I also want to just reemphasize, there are probably individuals thinking, I'm smarter than Paul Byrne. I'm smarter than the stadium. I'm smarter than the public officers that are maybe helping this event. Is there a concern about people trying to find the ability to just park in places they're not supposed to be, in neighborhoods they're not supposed to be? What would you say to that? And what should people be prepared for if they try to break the rules?
Well, so on the immediate footprint of Taft Street to the west in the Oak Hill neighborhood, there is resident-only parking during events. So there are clear signs that say you're not allowed to park on the street during events. So you get up to a $500 fine. Police will be out enforcing that. There's also areas that are beyond that fans may want to try to park in. I would just say follow the signs. Follow all the street signs. That'll put you in the best position to be comfortable with where you're going to park. I would also say utilize the local businesses, right? So there are restaurants within a walking distance of the stadium. I would recommend that you use those restaurants, get a meal there, park your car, you know where it's going to be when you come back out of the stadium, and support our local business.
Well said. In addition to the parking plan that was released by your side and the operations group, there was also the mentions and the inclusions of ride sharing, public transportation, bicycle, scooter situations. I guess, if you can walk listeners through, one, where will these stations be adjacent to the stadium experience? Especially like where do the bus routes land? Where will rideshare be picking up and dropping off? And then also what should fans that are coming on, some version of pedal power or their own human power, what should they be expecting from a game day experience?
Well, we have several different options for our fans. Right in the core of where our parking lots are, we call the M lots, right downtown. There'll be an option for them to walk, but also we partner with a company called Spin, who has scooters and bikes available that will be dropped in those parking lots that you can utilize. A bit easier to go from parking lot to the stadium, and they have a drop-off point that'll be easily identified as well through different signage. There will be a bus route that will pick folks up right in the visitor center area. That will have a loop around the right on Pleasant Street and Tower, and then it will loop around.
When you say the bus stop, so you're referring like near the main office?
Yes.
So they will be, their ingress and egress will be from there, and they'll still kind of participate in the same march to the match, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay.
There's also another stop that'll be in the main M7 lot,
okay.
As well as a train station, and it'll loop around. So it'll loop at our highly concentrated areas where people will be parking. So that'll be, I know there's been questions from fans about, families that can't necessarily make the walk, or folks that have accessibility challenges that need this bus loop will certainly help those folks and in that, answer those questions and make them feel comfortable with their access to and from the stadium.
And then rideshare will be in the same general ballpark?
Rideshare will be at the Francis Veyer School, which is about a less than a 5-minute walk on the south end of the stadium. So they'll be able to, rideshare will be able to access. I would recommend utilizing, if you're using rideshare, whether it's Lyft or Uber, to have your Uber or Lyft arrive or pick up at that school. It'll be the best access for them. It's sometimes, through my experience, these rideshare drivers can, do more harm than help, because they try to get as close as they can to the fan, and it really is not a good situation for our overall planning. So please utilize. There is a dedicated lot. Please use that lot. It'll be easier for you to unite with your driver. We also have. I mentioned the scooters. I mentioned the bus. We have the neighborhood that'll be descending into, as you mentioned before, they'll be sending into the stadium. There's also our accessibility vans. We do have a certain amount, but limited amount of ADA specific parking for those folks. If they utilize our checkpoint at Taft with their placard. If it's available, we will give them parking in a location for them to be able to access. We also have a pickup drop-off point. So if there are folks that we do fill our ADA parking spots, then we have an option for a pickup drop-off that's right on the plaza area of the stadium.
And the bicycle lockup for people doing, pedal power getting to the stadium, is that on site at Centreville Bank, or will that also be in an alternate spot?
It'll be down at the town landing spot. So if you utilize your app for Spin, it'll have a map that'll show you where they have scooters throughout the different parking areas, but also where you can pick up and drop off those locations.
Fantastic.
The other piece that I forgot to mention, Matt, is our bike riders that come from all over. We will have bike racks at the stadium for them to lock up their bike, and we don't have locks available but please take advantage of those bike racks.
Very large turnout. Looking forward to with the Providence Bike Jam. Looking forward to riding into the stadium on permittable weather days. So I guess the next question, you tackled the mobility parts of it. I just want to get specific into the bus part for a second here. What can you explain about what is happening in partnership with RIPTA to get as many fans using public transportation as possible?
We partner with RIPTA on an incredible bus loop. I have to mention that I don't think I've, at least through my career, I've seen quite a partnership like this where there's dedicated buses for our fans that'll loop through our parking areas, as well as the stop that'll be right at Pleasant and Tower, which is just one block from the main plaza of the stadium. So it's an opportunity for those folks. It'll be named the 1636 route, which many of our fans I think will appreciate. And, we'll have a few buses that'll have our brand on it as well. So it's an incredible partnership. Those folks also it'll be free for them to use.
That sounds incredible, this internal route to get people to and fro around the stadium. I guess, is there an origin point? Is it internal into that loop, or is this also something where they'll be running from, say, the Kennedy Center and getting people from downtown Providence?
This is its own route. So there are other connection points, whether it's the R line or other lines that come from Providence. I do want to say that, those lines that come from other points, they will charge. This is just specifically for fans that are in the Pawtucket area, right? To be able to offer them that service, first class service through RIPTA.
Did that connect all the way to the free parking lot? That's the almost 30-minute walk?
Does not.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a line from there. It's a good question.
Okay. Fantastic. And, I want to move on for the time we have, and I want to talk about the other aspect of parking. Obviously, tailgating was such a, embedded piece of the early culture, probably something I don't think that anyone really realized, knowing that we were going from this college footprint down to a urban dense, city specific stadium. Obviously, that's going to have to change in terms of the landscape of what people had at Byrne now to Centreville Bank Stadium. What details can you share at this time about what fans should experience on game day when it comes to not just how they park their car, but where they set up to do pregame experiences and then potentially tailgate?
So the M7 lot will be a sanctioned tailgating lot, meaning we will control and we'll set policies in there for tailgating. So there'll be also portalets in that lot. There will be trash bins and coal bins. There'll be staff dedicated to that lot. So there is a tailgate guide, which we will send in for the note before you go, as well as be able to access it on our website. So we'll go through normal kind of tailgating procedures that you would expect if you were to go to Gillette Stadium, and it's very comprehensive, and it'll be this. We want to make sure that we are staying true to the soccer culture, to the tailgating experience there, but we'll be closely monitoring it. So now, other lots that we control are not sanctioned. So if you're going to park at those other lots, you're at the discretion to the policies that are in those lots. So, and anywhere else, if you're at a private lot elsewhere, you're at the discretion to what that lot owner is allowing. But in M7, it is sanctioned, and it'll be a good experience for fans that utilize that.
So let's move on to the march to the match for the game days. I want to ask you, we've seen the route coming down Taft Street. I understand what that experience should look like, as it's a massing of both Defiant 1636 and all of the fans that they come in from their parking lots. I guess I want to ask you, what are the watchouts there as well? When you look at, specifically referring to crossing the bridge at Division Street, looking at, as people are coming in from Central Pawtucket, from Garden or George or Pine Streets, you've always been someone who focuses on safety, and I want to make sure, how should fans be treating all of the different ways to approach and mass? Are you asking them to go specifically down into Taft and come through there? Are they allowed to use those other streets? Will there be public safety officers? Or is that something that, it hasn't quite been worked out yet?
Well, Matt, we're working through it. I mean, March to the Match is a critical component to our, the culture of bringing fans to the stadium. Been in lockstep with Defiant 1636 on that group, leading the charge, if you will. I guess the point where the meet would be at the visitor center at the intersection of Roosevelt and Main Street. They will march down Taft Street from that point, and there will be a lane that is available through the construction right at Jenks. We will close that lane for the parade or for the march, and that march will then descend right up to Centreville Bank Stadium. And we're working with Defiance right now on their entry point and their access to their section as well. So
what I'm hearing is if we can, focusing on that location versus using the multiple other ways, because it's just going to slow down traffic, it creates risk, all of that kind of stuff.
I mean, right? that road, there really isn't any other access, because it's comes right underneath Division Street, and it gives you a direct route right to the stadium. So anyone that would like to take part in the March of the Match, I would advise them to go to that intersection to take part.
Let's get into the stadium itself. And we keep hearing that this is the first ever 100% electric soccer-specific stadium. I don't think I even was really paying attention to that earlier in the pride of what it was for the building. What does it mean to be 100% electric? And where are stadiums in the past that you've worked at not fully electric? What's the difference there?
It comes down to most stadiums use gas for their heating as well as their cooking. So here, through everything across the board for 100% electric, I mean, everything is powered, right? So it really gives us the ability to be able to manage our electricity consumption. When this stadium was built, there was a plan to be different, to define and take responsibility as far as it goes from our sustainability standpoint. So, so it's becoming the trend, right? So I said, New York City FC, who have an incredible building that's going to build out in New York, they'll be 100% electric. So from a facility sort of management standpoint, it puts us in a position to be able to really manage our energy consumption. Some stadiums, they produce an incredible amount of energy that is then used throughout, it's recycled essentially, and used in the towns that they're in, which helps lower their costs a little bit. So it's a great mechanism, and it really, is a huge focus for us when we're talking about our overall sustainability efforts in the building.
So getting into the stadium itself, I'm curious, how are the entry points looking right now? Is there a total number? It feels like they're all coming kind of from the north side in, but will there be gates on opposite sides that fans can use, or will most of the entry be kind of focused in one specific area?
Most of it's on the north. There'll be a north gate. That'll be about 85% of our fans will come through those gates. There's 12 entry points that will come through there. People will come through. We'll have some of the Bryant. We'll have our magnetometer set up. They're actually called open gates, so we'll make that experience a little bit easier for flow. There's also the beer garden gate, which is right next to Taft Street. That's an access point for fans as well as down on the Riverwalk, where we'll put an entrance there for our Fan Fest folks. That will not be open for tomorrow, but that is an access point for Fan Fest. The Fan Fest, once you enter, you're essentially entering into the venue, similar to what we had set up at Byrne as well. So But it's an incredible, FanFest is an incredible location right along the river, and it will offer a lot of those amenities. So on the south end, we have a premium entrance for some of our, suite holders and so on. On that side, that's where the team enters as well. So our media will enter. So the majority of our parking lots and the way that this has been designed is really on the north side of the stadium. And we anticipate that's why most of those gates have been built the way they are to be able to handle the load of the folks coming in.
Not your fault, but last year at Byrne, when suddenly 4,000 plus were in that concentrated area, there were some Wi-Fi opportunities last time around. People couldn't get their parking passes loaded on their phones. I blame that more on Verizon and T-Mobile and whatnot. But will there be Wi-Fi available to patrons when they come to Centreville Bank Stadium to make sure that that's easy?
Yeah. So Cox is supplying all of our Wi-Fi. It's the latest and greatest in 5G. So. The stadium was built with the intent that we are cashless, that we are all mobile, that we are digital. So we also have a Rhode Island FC app that fans can access their tickets, access their parking. So we've tried to really make it easier for that fan experience when they come in. But yes, they can anticipate being able to get on a network or get on Wi-Fi to use our app, to be able to buy concessions, to buy merchandise, and so on.
And then, speaking to the stadium overall as fans enter in, are there any restricted areas outside of the normal things like offices, the player areas? I think back to baseball where, sometimes they tier it off by the different level or the different section. Is there going to be any restriction from the fan experience, or can they get to basically anywhere in the stadium as long as they have a ticket to come in?
Yeah, they can, as long as you have a ticket. We have a full 360 concourse, and please use it. Please explore the different areas. We have a beer garden with an incredible bar that is one of a kind. It's actually built by a local Rhode Islander in Bristol, Rhode Island. So please utilize that beer garden. On the west side, we also have a food market, which will be on the south. So that has our different offerings there when it comes to portables, as well as Amazon Go markets throughout the venue. So that's a great experience for fans to be able to just tap their card, walk into these markets, grab whatever they'd like, and walk out. If you're buying alcohol, you're going to have to show your ID, but it should help create a very quick, seamless process for those fans that simply go up to a concession stand and just want a beer or a soda. They don't necessarily have to wait too long of a line for those areas. So yes, please walk around. We have drink rails that are along the concourse. We have certain different seating areas. So yes, definitely there's different vantage points to be able to watch the game from. So you should take advantage of that.
Speaking of the food and beverage concession options, have you finalized the entire list? We've seen, a trickling in of different partners from Maven's, California Taco, Dell's. Is everything done, or are there still potential opportunities for additional partners to come in and give their services in terms of food and beverage options?
It's pretty much there, Matt. We were intentional, as I think I've mentioned to you before, that we wanted to bring local. So, we will have the hot wiener in here. We will have, Dell's Lemonade. We will have Maven's, which is really important. And Maven's, they are an incredible local business that's going to showcase their food and take advantage of this. So we're really excited about that. As you mentioned, California Taco. We also have Chick-fil-A from Attleboro. That'll be selling Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
But not on Sundays, right?
Not on Sundays. Not on Sundays. That's correct. Yes, not on Sundays. Which is okay. There's other options in the building that will definitely suffice for those Chick-fil-A lovers. We also partnered with Guild. So the Guild is incredible partner locally and incredible beer. Obviously, everyone had those RIFC Pale Ales last year, and we'll be coming back with a beer this year, as well as one that I saw the other day with the supporter group, which is incredible.
They just announced it today. Yeah.
They announced it today.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Now, I've never seen that before. Like usually you get the team, but to get a supporter group, to get Duffy behind wanting to invest in the community now as well, it's just
it says a lot about Jeremy Duffy and Devin, those guys over there. I mean, they're first class. So we really value that partnership and look forward to showcasing them at the games. So, but yes, we actually have I have a tasting that you're invited to next Wednesday. So you'll be able to, really be able to showcase our food out to all our fans.
And you mentioned the app. You mentioned also the contactless pay for beverages. Will there be a way to expedite food, or will you still have to go to each of these concession stands to order the food directly?
For now, there's belly up concession stands as well as portables. We're certainly going to look at that as we learn the building and we learn fans' habits. There's other different opportunities, but as we get through the season, we may introduce hawkers to the stands. The idea is to try to keep fans in their seats so that they can, have access to food and drink. Also looking at some other technology offerings, but the goal is really to get us open to learn. There's constant data that we're learning about the habits of fans, and it helps us kind of drive to a certain food or a certain beverage or the location and so on. So once we get a bit of this data from our fans and we understand the habits, then we're going to concentrate on providing them, additional service there.
Speaking of data, David Peart had mentioned last time we talked that retail was a particular pain point within Byrne Stadium, just because there wasn't enough places or points of contact for people to buy merchandise. I've seen this wonderful new retail shop experience on the north side. Will there be multiple touch points this time around here at Centreville Bank Stadium?
Yes, we have the team store, which is incredible. Rankin Rally is a partner there that's managing it, as well as there'll be mobile kiosks throughout the venue as well. So, we had, again, as I mentioned, at Byrne Stadium as a bit of a litmus test for us as we were, we had limited resource, limited infrastructure to be able to really, put together a merch experience here. We have the infrastructure, we have the know-how, we have an incredible company that's managing it for us. So, we should be able to provide that experience and faster speed of service for fans.
And then from a safety and security policy, anything changing in terms of entry requirements to get into the stadium? Last year, you unveiled those types of scanners. It sped up the process. I assume you're bringing back the clear bag policy. Is there anything changing specifically for Centreville Bank Stadium that fans need to know?
Yeah, so we will have the clear bag policy. What I did at Byrne last year was it was a bit of a learning curve. I wanted to make sure we weren't sort of black and white on how that was managed. It will be managed much stricter for this. But if a bag is not allowed, we do have drop lockers. So we have lockers that are located right on the concourse outside the plaza. There is a fee for it. The fee is really, it's not a revenue fee. It's just a fee to operate those lockers. And it's a great amenity, right? So, we'll be able to show fans how that's used. It's an app that's on your phone, and similar to what you would see at some amusement parks that you go to be able to drop your bags at. So, it was important for fans that were parking off site, or if they were taking a ride share or whatnot, that if they couldn't bring their bag in, they had somewhere for it to be placed. So we're excited about offering that to fans. It's really important to us now that we're kind of in this urban setting that we are staying true to the safety of the fans, right? So the policies and permitted, non-permitted items that will be displayed on signage on the concourse, as well as on our app, as well as on our website, are very much in line with all of the other venues in New England. Very similar to the experience that you would have at Gillette Stadium, that you had experience at Live Nation concert venues across the board. So it was important to us to maintain that level of security for fans, so that they felt like they don't necessarily have to worry about those pieces, right? They can come into a game, they can feel secure, enjoy the game, and then when they leave, feel that security as well. Pawtucket Police, Pawtucket Public Safety has been tremendous in their support for the stadium. So their job is to maintain safety and security throughout the city when fans come in and come out, so that fans feel like they have a great experience across the board.
You had mentioned to me at the end of last season how you'd built this great relationship with the Smithfield Police Department, and we're looking to build that same relationship with the Pawtucket Public Safety Division. I want to ask, as fans start to leave the match and you start thinking about the exit strategy, the exit operations for fans, they're now going to be leaving into neighborhoods, right? I want to be mindful, and maybe this is an opportunity for you to kind of address the fans. What's the procedure looking like, and what are the expectations for fan guidelines around leaving the stadium? I'm thinking like ranging from cleanup, curfew, noise. I look back to the playoffs where there were drum circles going on for 2 hours outside after a major victory. What are you trying to do to get ahead of that? What would your ask be to fans when they leave the stadium after a game?
Yeah, I mean, I would ask fans just to be mindful. We are literally in the community, in a neighborhood. I've been in touch with many neighbors that are concerned with trash and fans walking across their lawn. I assured them that Rhode Island FC fans are the greatest fans in New England, and they will be, common and courteous as they treat this place just like their own home. So, and I truly believe that. So, but awareness is key, right? If you're walking through a neighborhood and let's just say we have an event that's real late at night, just be mindful and kind of treat it just like you would be in your own neighborhood. So I know that fans want to get to their cars. We'll have, police presence, so they'll feel safe coming up and down these roads. Please throw out your garbage before you leave the venue, and just be mindful of and courteous to our neighbors, just as we are from a venue standpoint.
Ramping up for the home opener, I've heard that there may be some special activations coming along. Is there anything that you can tease for game one that is confirmed and on its way for fans to experience? Or do you have to keep that in the pocket for the time being?
Listen, I think at the end of the day, it'll be a memorable moment in history for Rhode Island and Pawtucket. So, for everyone, right? I think this has been a long time coming. I've talked with you. I've talked with many different people. Right now, it's no more talk, it's action, right? And we're opening our doors. This is the action that we have promised, and the experience. So I would say you're not going to want to miss the opening ceremony. You're not going to want to miss this moment in time that we kick off. You're not going to want to miss all of the things that we talked about today, right? So it's an exciting time to be part of the first, right? The first game at Centreville Bank Stadium, and the first of many incredible experiences.
You've managed so many buildings throughout your career. I have to ask now, you're at the finish line for Centreville Bank Stadium. How does this project rank against all the different, you've opened stadiums before, you've managed some of the biggest facilities in the country. Where does this range for you? And what's been maybe your proudest moment getting this stadium online?
A dream to be a GM and to open a stadium. Definitely have opened a ton of them, but I've always been the person that has been the guy behind the guy. Never the one that really had an opportunity to kind of build something from ground up and to make an impact. So been able to make an impact here. Pretty humble about it, but it'll be a tremendous moment when we kick off. So this is, when you're in sports like this, there's so many sacrifices that you make. This is one that's gonna mean a lot. Mean pretty close and dear to my heart.
And it reflects, you've not only transformed this sport, transformed this team, but you've transformed this community and pretty soon this state's opinion overall. And it's been an absolute pleasure, Paul, watching you work, watching this team work. And I cannot wait for that first kickoff on 5-3. I want to close things off and just ask, again, this was kind of a know before you go, before the know before you go. And I want to make sure, is there anything that we're missing? Is there anything that you need to make sure fans hear from you directly before that first kickoff?
I can't emphasize it enough. Please arrive early, right? Please take advantage of the day. I would equate this to a baseball opening day, right? The entire day, everyone's talking about being there. Right now, I feel it across the board. I feel in my neighborhood, everyone is extremely excited about being there. So you don't want to miss it. Please take your time. Please take your time. Please be early, and make that create your memory, right? So this will be a core memory for many people. I know it will be for me, but it's definitely you don't really get to be a part of a first many times. So this will be the first that folks can witness and really take pride in.
And that's Paul Byrne, Stadium General Manager and employee number 1 for Rhode Island FC. I should specifically say he's the first employee ever. I don't know if he's number 1 in terms of the employees. But thank you so much, Paul, for jumping on. If you need anything in the future, please don't hesitate. It's always great to learn from you. And don't forget, for our listeners, you can always tune in to us anytime at www.raisinganchorpodcast.com. We have our Instagram at Raising Anchor, and of course the rest of our socials at Rhode Island FC Podcast. So thanks again. Looking forward to it. I know you got a lot to still get done, so we'll let you get back to it, and we will see you in just a short few number of days.
Can't wait. Thanks, man.
Thanks.